So Lior is asking at a high level, what are the key main differences between Bibi and Naftali's platforms? Where do they differ? If you like explicitly, not a lot. They say a lot of the same things. Okay, so I'll show the polls so you can, again, this is Bennett, this is Netanyahu. Bennett was always to the right of Netanyahu when he was in Netanyahu's bloc, and then he moved to be between the blocks, and then he became prime minister with 6 seats. And after saying he wouldn't put Abbas in his government, ended up putting Abbas in his government. Now, the actual position differences, he's less likely to capitulate to the ultra-Orthodox than Netanyahu because Netanyahu needs them for his government. He is a right-wing liberal, more so. I mean, Netanyahu is also, but Netanyahu's party has slowly drifted into being less that. The next topic we're going to talk about is Netanyahu trying to bring that back into the party, making it more explicitly liberal and less controlled by unions and so on. Bennett is against Palestinian statehood. He might go for some autonomy that's very very reduced, the kind that the Palestinians would not go for in just in area A, for example, and then annexing area C. But like they're right wingers. They are right wing. Naftali Bennett is not going to form a Palestinian statehood. So we'll get to the Iran topics in a bit. So right now I'm talking about the Israeli elections. So there aren't really key policy differences between Bennett and Netanyahu. Bennett is arguably less beholden to the ultra-Orthodox, but is also trying to court centrist and left-leaning people. So I think he's hiding a lot of his positions. So for example, he's for a court mandated or court appointed rather committee to investigate October 7th. The problem with that is that a lot of people saying the courts are part of the problem, and so and they're a highly partisan feature within Israeli society, and so they're not going to do a good job. It's not going to be good if they do it. Whereas Netanyahu is saying we need to form a bipartisan in the sense of like all the people in the Knesset appoint the people that are in charge of the committee, and then those people investigate everything. And also in terms of judicial reform, he has spoken a lot for judicial reform before he switched sides, and since then he's been skirting a line, not saying exactly quite what he wants. He's saying it's solvable, and you can have a solution. There are easy solutions that both sides would agree on. And the issue is, I think he's right. Like, I've been saying this ever since this started. I don't understand what the fighting is about. It's just about not trusting the other side. There are solutions that give both sides what they want, but then each side says, well, the other side wants something different than what they're claiming. And there's actually, so just objectively from the way I see it, the right wing, the people who tried to do the judicial reform in Israel were willing to capitulate and compromise way more than the other side. The other side just wanted to make the government fall. Okay. So GTA is asking, no, I'm not going to get into it yet. We don't know. We know that Israel, okay, I'll very quickly talk about it, and this is the only thing I'll say about the topic. We don't know whose idea the Kurds were. Even if they were Israel's idea, which again, we don't know if it was the CIA or Mossad. But even if it was, the point was not to break apart Iran. that was absolutely not the plan. It's possible the Mossad didn't know about the animosity between the Kurds that are allied with Israel in other, and with Israel and the USA in other areas, in trying to create a Kurdistan. It's possible that they weren't aware enough of the animosity they have towards Iranians in general, and if so, that was a big screw up by Mossad, and could have been the reason that a couple of the people have been removed from their positions as a result. We don't know whose plan it was, but regardless, the plan was only to liberate Iran, not break it apart. Okay, for the 6-Day War, didn't the USA also help Israel? No. USA started backing Israel as a result of Israel's astounding victory in the 6-Day War. It was such a victory that they don't even teach it in military academies, at least in certain Eastern ones. I don't remember if it was China, or I recently read this. In the Far East, in military academies, they don't even talk about it, because it's just like, what do we learn from this? This doesn't make sense. Essentially, there's no like military tactic that we can explain why it would lead to this result. The evangelicals came strongly on Israel's side as a result of the 6-Day War victory. So the U.S. support of Israel came only 20 years after Israel came into existence. Partially because before that, Israel was also left-leaning, like socialist-leaning, so it was teetering between the blocks, between the USSR and the West. Yeah, so I'm probably going to vote for Erdogan's new party, but as part of this thing that's going to form. If I have to vote for a party, I'll probably vote for it. But if it doesn't get to have a chance to go beyond the threshold, then I'm not sure what I'm going to vote. Like, at that point, I'll have a lot of thinking to do. Okay, so Daydreamer. So for the record, this is a person. They have a picture of Netanyahu, young Netanyahu. I think, I'm pretty sure it's either Benjamin Netanyahu or his brother Jonathan. But I'm pretty sure this is a picture of young Netanyahu as the profile picture. That is also an important contextual thing to keep in mind. What about Lieberman's land swaps? How is that good for Israel? So you're talking about a plan. So Lieberman wanted his idea of Palestinian statehood was to give a lot of Israel's existing Arab minority to the Palestinian state, and doing land swaps with areas that are majority Jewish. And that was a decade and a half ago. No, a decade ago. A lot has changed since then. This is not something that you will see him bring up, because I don't think that's something he still thinks. Lieberman is very hawkish. People who are afraid that the next government is going to create a Palestinian state, again, daydreamer. I don't see that as a reasonable fear. There are too many people. There is no strong left wing in Israel. You have, at most, you have this as the true left, and then you have this as a left masquerading as center, like, arguably. Although you also have some people there who are explicitly right wing or center right, at least, like Matan Kahana, and a coalition that is led by Eisenkot with the blue parties. Even if you add Mansour Abbas, which is it's not actually going to happen. Lieberman is not going to allow it, because that'll be the end of him. Is still not going to do anything about Palestinian statehood. And most, they'll scale back some of what has been done in this government, which, if you care about that stuff, like, it's important, but it's not. You're not going to get Palestinian statehood in anywhere in the near future. Okay. So Gene, I think. Again, I'm sorry. JM. I'll just say JM. It's a big. So talking about the Mecca agreement, it's a big nothing burger shit country. Even if 100 reunite for alliance, it's still only 100 shit countries. I mean, so far the issue is that if you get coordination among the Arab countries in a way that is meant to fight against Israel, that's going to be a challenge. Okay, RG Rappaport is asking, what does this mean? Recognize sovereignty, again, talking about Colombia, over the Golan Heights. Does it have any real and or legal meaning? Could this be the same as recognizing Palestinian state? It's the same as recognizing Palestinian statehood. It's declaratory. It's only relevant if a lot of countries join then. But right now, it doesn't. It just means that Colombia recognizes this. It's a symbol of how committed the new Colombian president is to the country's relationship with Israel. That's the important part of it. It shows just how pro-Israel he is. Okay. Okay, we talked about this. Israel, I don't think Israel is scared of the separatist groups. Israel is pro-Kurd in general, not the communist Kurds, but just Kurds that want their own country. Israel is slightly leaning to their side. I think they have had some cooperations, especially with regards to Turkey. Like the anti-Turkish Kurds, since Erdogan has become cuckoo about Israel. I'm not sure. I think Israel has some connections with some Kurds. I don't know if it's the separatist Kurds. I actually doubt it's the separatist Kurds. But there are some relations with the Kurds, and maybe they thought, that they didn't recognize the difference or something, and that's why they were for the plan. Okay. I'll get to this in a bit. Gadi would sit with the Islamic Brotherhood. That's not true. That's taken out of context. He said he said he is not ruling out any party that accepts his framework, which is Israel as a Jewish democratic state, enlistment for all, and I keep forgetting the third one. But something that has broad acceptance. I think it was investigating October 7th. Then he's not going to rule out anybody. But he also said at the same breath, I have not seen any Arab party come close to doing that. So far, the answer is no. Okay, what's their view on Judea and Samaria and Gaza? They were to the right of Netanyahu. This comment came when we were talking about Erdogan and the new Unity Party, the new right-wing Unity Party. They have always opposed disengagement from Gaza. They're very pro Judea and Samaria. They're very right-wing. They're sick of the ultra-Orthodox holding the government by the balls. That's essentially, and so they want a government with the center and the center left and the non-religious right that is anti-Netanyahu. They want to force a unity government there, because then you'll be able to govern much better and also deal with the issues, the demographic issues of the ultra-Orthodox growing in number exponentially while not contributing to society, and not, again, as a generalization. The current situation is not sustainable, and it has to be solved, and it can be solved when these parties hold the government by the balls. Okay. Yeah, so Freedom to Gargamel is agreeing with me. You guys don't understand the social cost here. The ultra-religious, the ultra-Orthodox, he means, parties are outdated and causing problems.